and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, I've used this before, but he is Stage of Podcasting. What was it going? Stage of what? I'm doing that again.
Star of Stage and Podcast, wasn't it?
Stage of Screen and Podcast. I caught that one up, didn't I? Yeah, well, we're not live, but I'm not editing now anyway. It's Anthony, you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
Good. Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
We've had a good week because we had Spotify Wrapped. And not just us, everybody had the Spotify Wrapped event this week. And normally we do like the thank yous in the at the end of the show, don't we? Yeah. But we should just do the thank yous now.
I think so.
Up front. Yeah, let's do them. So if anyone doesn't know, Spotify Wrapped is kind of like an end of year wrap up that Spotify do. So if you listen to music and podcasts, what are you laughing at?
Well explained. Spotify Wrapped is how you wrap up your year on Spotify.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's not my fault if they've named it
It's
perfectly.
in the title.
It's not my fault if they've named it absolutely perfectly, is it? So they basically show you, as a listener, what you've been listening to all year. So favourite songs, most listened to podcasts. But also we get a bit of an insight as well because we're podcasters now. So we get like a special podcasters version. We were blown away, though, by the amount of people who had posted on Twitter and other social media that we were in there. Some number one listen to podcast, and quite a lot of people in their top 5 as well. Yeah. So thank you very much to everybody who's listened. Yeah. This is still our first year podcasting. We haven't even done 12 months yet. No. But it's been bigger.
And
not
when
like
you think about it,
but it's been bigger than we thought.
When you think about it, our first episode was in February, so in fact we've only had 10 months to still get into people's top 5s and even to the number 1 spot.
I didn't even think of that.
And that's really humbling, like, honestly, absolutely chuffed to bits.
It's amazing, yeah. Everyone on Twitter who sort of let us know, so Robin, Nathan, Peacemaker, We Needed Roads, Rachel Miller and Paul Sears, thank you for listening, and obviously thank you for letting us know on Twitter as well. We actually found out that according to Spotify Wrapped, we are 32 people's number 1 listen to podcast.
That's just insane.
And that's just on Spotify. Yeah. So Spotify only makes up about 20% of our listeners. So yeah, absolutely gobsmacked. But yeah, thank you very much.
Totally blown away.
We'll stop bigging ourselves up now. We don't get to do it very often.
It's more shock than anything else, isn't it?
It's more like, have they cogged up the figures or something like that? But yeah, we are so grateful. So thank you very much. Should we get on with on this week's show then?
No.
Oh yeah, Anthony's got a story. We'll get her stuff in a minute, but Anthony's got a story.
Because we all know I'm a tit, right? This is how we're going to start this.
I feel like I should argue against that.
So, people in the UK may or may not know, and people in the US probably will have no idea because it'll be nothing compared to the weather that they get. But we had quite a big storm last weekend, didn't we?
We did.
I actually ended up stuck in a rural area. Okay. I was stuck just outside of Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah. I'd gone on the Friday night to see a friend, stayed over, and then on the Saturday, we'd gone up to a red warning on the Wirral. We did. We'd had reports of more than 80 trees falling in the borough and things like that. So it was, again, nothing to probably after whether you get in the US, but it's probably the worst that I've seen in my lifetime for damage.
Bad for what we've had,
So I decided not to drive home, but I only obviously had a certain amount of clothes. So I went to Tesco to buy some underwear.
Okay, right? Good. You didn't just go back to front?
No, I didn't go back to front. And I went into Tesco, bought it at the self-service, didn't grab the receipt because I was just like, it's just the one thing and I'm heading out. Okay. And as I walked out, all the alarms started going off because the tag was still on there.
Amazing.
Right? So
and couldn't even prove that you
what's worse, I thought I'm going to be cheap and not buy a bag, so I stuffed it in my hoodie. So I almost got rugby tackled by 2 security guards. Right.
For nicking boxes.
And then when I pulled it out my thing, they were then waving around me underwear in the middle of Tesco. And I was like, guys, I promise you I paid for it. I've got no evidence, but I promise you I did. I ended up having to go onto my banking app to show them that I just spent £11 in the shop. Yeah. It was so embarrassing.
That's
I was
an expensive pair of undies.
It was a pack of 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was dead embarrassing. So that was my first one, and then obviously we know that my show's open this week.
You've got another story. Go on, yeah.
And last night, part of the set is a big Wendy house because we're playing 6-year-olds doing a nativity.
Yeah.
And the very first scene that I do, I've got to start sulking and kind of like charge off and go and hide out in the Wendy house.
Okay.
Some shitbag had locked it. So I went storming like a rhino on stage into this door and went head first because it didn't open. And then I had to awkwardly shuffle round the back.
Live on stage?
Live on stage in front of a full room of audience.
I wish I could.
It was absolutely horrendous. I can laugh about it now, but at the time I was fuming.
That's a good job you can, because you've literally just told.
I know.
Not millions, but hundreds of people.
Enough
people for it to be embarrassing. Well, thanks, Randy.
There you go.
I
Little
haven't
insight.
really got any stupidly embarrassing stories this week, but I think you've done enough for both of us, to be fair.
Cheers, man.
Shall we? Can we do the show now? Is that okay?
Help yourself, yeah.
Sounds brilliant. So on this week's show, we're going to break down all the latest comic book movie news, including Spider-Man No Way Home news. There's always Spider-Man No Way Home news. There's less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks.
Oh,
amazing.
I'm excited.
We've got some new teasers for The Matrix Resurrections. They are the teaseriest teasers I've ever seen, and we'll
the teaseriest teasers.
I'm really excited about even talking about the teasers, particularly because and I think the fact that you've not seen The Matrix is going to make it even better because I get to explain it.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll be covering the brand new full trailer for Peacemaker, which Anthony has just watched, which is hilarious. We're then going to be giving you our full review of Hawkeye Episode 3 before discussing your thoughts and theories on this week's Pod Fans Assemble. This is also your spoiler warning. There will be spoilers and speculation throughout the episode. If you want to skip ahead to the Hawkeye review or to Pod Fans Assemble, then we will put timestamps in the description as always. So, should we just crack on with Spider-Man news then?
Let's do it.
Tickets went on sale this week.
Yeah, we've got ours.
We've got ours, yeah. Only just. They went on sale on Spider Monday, which was my birthday.
Yes, happy birthday for Monday, mate.
It was also friend of the show and patron Richard Nebbins' birthday on Monday as well, which we found out on Monday.
Share the same birthday.
That's good, isn't it? And then I thought, do you know what? Other Marvel people, it was Gemma Chan's birthday on Spider Monday. It was Don Cheadle's birthday on Spider Monday, and it would have been Chadwick Boseman's birthday on Spider Monday. Oh, no way. I share a birthday with some boss people.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, I'm the one letting the side down, but I share a birthday with some boss people. Anyway, tickets were an absolute pain in the arse to get hold of. In the UK, I've never found it that difficult to get tickets. We got them, but we didn't really get our pick of what seats we wanted.
Or the times, really, did we?
Or the times. No. So, I mean, we got them, but apparently in the US, they are even more difficult to get hold of, and people are selling them on eBay for thousands. I've seen so many sets of 4 tickets for $25,000.
I was going to say, they're just doing what they did with the PS5 and stuff like that, aren't they? They're just... Yeah.
Surely no one's going to pay $25,000 for a pair of Spider-Man No Way Home tickets for
I'd just wait another 24 hours, to be honest.
I know. It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
Surely not. So a bit more Spider-Man news then. Sony's Amy Pascal, who's the producer of the new Spider-Man movies, she did an interview with Fandango, and she's kind of potentially let the cat out of the bag. She's basically said that it's not the last movie or the last Spider-Man movie that they're going to make with Marvel or Tom Holland. She said, it's the end of this trilogy, and now we're going to go into the next 3.
Yeah.
And she's now tried to backtrack, and Tom Holland's even tried to backtrack it a little bit. It comes to something when Tom Holland's trying to cover your ass for spoilers.
I know, yeah. You've done wrong when Tom Holland is the one trying to save your bacon.
Kevin Feige must be absolutely fuming. Because
Tom Holland has been talking about maybe it's time for Miles Morales to take over and stuff, but I don't know whether that's off the back of Gemma Chan.
Off Gemma Chan?
Not
Amy
Gemma
Pascal?
I'm getting my names mixed up
Just
already.
A bit.
Jesus Christ.
Just a bit. Is that because I mentioned Gemma Chan before?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he has mentioned it. He's mentioned Miles Morales. He's also said somewhere, as if it's like the worst kept secret now, that there's going to be 3 generations of Spider-Man in the new movie. He's actually said that. So we know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we get in there on the 15th of December and there's no Toby and no Andrew?
Did you hear about Graham Norton?
I know he was on Graham Norton yesterday.
They put the poster on, but they did one of the unofficial ones with all 3 of them on.
Did they?
And they were trying to get it out to Tom, and he was like, it's a fake, man.
How is he? Fair play.
So there's been a bit of a thing about all of that. It's quite funny.
No, it's gotta be. I heard that. I think it was on TikTok. I saw somebody put it on, and I think he'd said because there's a lot of people on TikTok, and I've downloaded TikTok again. Sorry, but people are like even more obsessed with it than us, and like picking apart the trailer in great detail. There's one theory doing the rounds that the end is gonna be a bit like Iron Man 3. So that moment in the trailer when Doctor Strange says, I can't hold them back, they're coming through. The theory is that that's not referring to Toby and Andrew. That's referring to tons more villains and tons more Spider-Man.
Right,
so we could end up with like a whole like full Spider-Verse coming through, like Miles Morales. Probably loads of people who won't get a single line. There's loads of variants of Spider-Man. And potentially loads of variants of bad guys as well. Can you imagine like a full-on like Avengers Endgame moment with tons of villains? The Sinister 600 against like 300 different Spider-Man. It'd be so good. Another one as well, somebody slowed down the trailer to 0.25 speed. And on one of the shots at the end, I think it's when MJ starts falling. And Tom Holland Spider-Man basically swings down. Halfway through when he swings down, his golden black costume sort of disappears, and it's Andrew Garfield's costume. Because there was a theory that they just basically covered up the costumes to make it look like it was all Tom Holland. But you can literally see it. As he swings down and starts going out of shot, it just turns into Andrew Garfield's costume. So they've obviously not covered it for all the frames. So
there's also talks. There's also talks. I don't know whether we've mentioned this yet. That Ned is the one pushing her off.
But he fought, doesn't he stand there?
I don't know. There's like these theories going around now that with Ned being with her, but it looks more like a push than it does him stumbling.
What, like Ned? Well, maybe it's not either. That would mean either Ned's gone evil, or maybe it's a variant of Ned.
But there was talks about 12 months ago of potentially Ned becoming.
Well, he does in the comics. He becomes
Goblin.
not Green Goblin, Hobgoblin
Hobgoblin.
in the comics. But yeah, I can't wait.
So I don't know.
It's going to be such a big.
I want something to hit us from the side that we just were not expecting at all.
I know.
Like,
if
I'd
it
love
literally is
something
just
like
the
that.
Sinister Six or Sinister Five potentially at this point, and just the three Spideys, as good as that will be, I think I'll be a little bit disappointed that we've seen everything coming. I want like full on surprises. In this. It's not long. What are we on now? Like
it's 11 days.
11 days away for us anyway.
For us,
What is it? 13 days for the guys in the US. Yeah. Well, we'll be releasing our episode on the Friday.
We just can't make that promise for the rest of the UK.
No, no, it's going to get spoiled. Well,
especially after Venom.
Screenings have started this week.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I'll be devastated if
I need to be off social media for a week then.
Off the internet, yeah. Well, we won't spoil anything on the podcast.
No, we
or
won't.
On our Twitter or anything like that. We've potentially just spoiled loads, but yeah. It's just speculation.
It's all speculation at this point, isn't it? We don't know anything.
A bit more news then. So, going off Marvel, Book of Boba Fett. That's the next Disney Plus series after Hawkeye. Not huge news, but Disney have released some character posters. They're obviously sticking to the same formula that they've done now with the
Mandalorian.
Well, I don't think. Did we get character posters for the Mandalorian?
I thought we did.
I can't remember.
I might be wrong.
Well, we get with every Disney Plus show now. It's Marvel. We get character posters. Don't we? We get like 2 before it launches, and then we get another 1 or 2 every week. So we've got a Boba Fett one, and then a Fennec Sand poster as well. So I would guess that we're going to get new posters every single week after that. Doesn't really give much away. I just thought I'd mention it because it's a reminder that it's coming.
I'm actually really excited about it, to be fair. If Mandalorian is anything to go by, it's going to be really good.
It's got to be good. I mean, it's basically like, I think I don't think people were upset that The Mandalorian wasn't about Boba Fett, but it's like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like he was like a recreation of Boba Fett to a degree, wasn't he? But they didn't want to use Boba Fett. It's basically now The Mandalorian with full on Boba Fett. That's what it's going to be. 29th of December, it's out. So literally a week after the last episode of Hawkeye. So we will be doing it every week. Like we are with Hawkeye. It's going to be the first time we've done non-Marvel. Non-Marvel for a TV series anyway. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I am going to have to brush up on my Star Wars knowledge because I don't know anything.
Oh my god, me too.
I'm just going to be like, who's that? We're going to have to rely on the listeners to let us know who everybody is. Back to Marvel then. So there was a crew gift, or apparently a crew gift for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Got it.
Okay, yeah.
First time.
Well done.
And it was. Have you seen it? Did you see it on the video I sent you?
No.
It looks like a t-shirt, and it's Ant-Man's helmet with like a big crack in it, and you can see the reflection of Kang.
Yeah. Okay,
so
no, sorry, I did
so
see
apparently
it.
it's our first look at Kang. It's not been verified that it's actually real, but yeah, it's as if we knew he was obviously going to be in it.
Yeah.
But I'm still thinking your theory's right.
Do you?
Your Kang theory. Go on. Anybody who hasn't listened, Anthony, what's your
okay,
Kang
so
theory?
my theory with Kang is that we are going to get a version of Kang in Ant-Man. But we kind of said it's weird that the first announcement would be Ant-Man, which has been...
doesn't feel like a big enough movie to have such a big villain.
Ant-Man hasn't been kind of that type of movie yet, has it?
Even Loki, which is massive in my opinion, didn't introduce us to the Kang.
Exactly.
It introduced us to the concept of Kang, didn't it? Really.
So I've got a really strong feeling that we're gonna obviously see Kang, and it's gonna be the big bad that he fights all the way through.
Yeah.
But I think just at the end, I think it's gonna be a close point. The way they tend to do, the hero is really close to losing, and then I think the actual Kang the Conqueror, the big bad, is going to come and destroy the other Kang the same way that he's talked about that they did last time in their kind of circle of time. So I think Kang's going to get defeated by another Kang at the very end, and that's going to leave it on that cliffhanger.
I think I genuinely think you're onto something with that.
Yeah,
I genuinely think that's good. I hope it is, because I feel like
I hope it is, because I think
it's kind of
a
waste
amazing.
of Kang. No, I mean Ant-Man's great. Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're not the biggest films. They're not my
But even if you
films.
think this Kang is quite strong that fights him, to then suddenly just be absolutely crushed by another Kang, you just think, holy shit, how strong is he? And it's going to be that kind of... And
because
I think
Ant-Man and the Wasp can't defeat this Kang.
And I think that'll just be the end of that film, and then we'll have to wait to find out what happens next.
Can't wait.
It'll be so good.
Cannot wait.
Disney, I'm available if you want to pick me up for any writing.
And me as well. Help. I'll tag along. Matrix. Then we mentioned the Matrix. So I'm guessing Anthony hasn't seen the teasers. They don't give a lot away.
I actually have seen some bits. I just don't know what I'm watching.
You saw the bits that I put on the trailer.
This
episode, didn't you?
Yeah.
So there's been two, and they're very, very similar. But I say they're similar. They sort of follow the same pattern, but they've not really got any of the same footage in either of them, to be honest. They're completely different. But you've not seen the first Matrix, have you?
No.
The first, or
well,
1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, I have.
Have you? Okay.
It was when it first came out, and I sat there thinking, what the hell is happening? I just never tried to go back to it.
You're gonna have to.
No,
it's on the 22nd of December, so we're gonna have Hawkeye finale and the Matrix in one episode.
Okay, I'll get to work.
The day before, 23rd of December it'll be.
Oh, yeah.
So right before Christmas. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. We'll squeeze it into one episode. It'll be good. So anyway, the big focus of both the teasers is basically the whole concept of deja vu. Yeah. So in the first Matrix, a cat walks past Neo, and then the same cat walks past 2 seconds later, and he says, "Oh, deja vu." Do you remember this bit?
And then they're saying it's a glitch in the Matrix.
It's basically, it means they've changed something. And
right.
Both the teasers really heavily focus on it. You can constantly hear like Trinity in the background going, "It means they've changed something. It means they've changed something. Deja vu, deja vu."
Yeah.
So it really focuses on that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, all the marketing and the premise of the synopsises that we've seen so far are all pushing the fact that this is a follow-on to the first Matrix film.
Right.
So you've heard that. Have you heard that rumor?
Yeah.
That it's basically going to jump past 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But in these trailers, like on one of them, on this teaser, it's kind of got shots from the original Matrixes and then sort of echoes it in this new one. So there's a scene in the trailer of the first one, like the first trailer that came out of like Jonathan Groff, isn't it? He's in it.
Yeah. With
his mouth all melted together.
Yeah.
And then it shows you a shot of Neo with his mouth melted together in the first Matrix movie.
Right.
And there's loads of shot like that, like mirroring it. But lots of the shots in these new teasers are from 2 and 3. Oh. But then we've been told in the synopsis that it's a direct follow-on from the first movie. But also, there's bits
unless they work out. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about with Matrix. Unless they're talking about a split path or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like because the other thing is there's shots in this trailer, or one or two shots in this trailer where Keanu Reeves' character Neo is watching himself on telly. Doing like I think one of them is a clip from one of the original Matrix movies, and then one of a clip from the trailer.
Yeah.
But it was heavily rumored when this movie first got announced and it started filming that it was going to be very meta, and that the Matrix movies would exist in this movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's going really weird and deep down the rabbit hole. Yeah. So now that we're seeing these teasers and it's really confusing, don't get me wrong, but I'm so intrigued. I'm really excited to go back and...
Does that mean I need to watch the second and third one then as well?
You have to watch all three of them.
Oh, shit, the bed.
And number 2 and 3 are garbage. They're just not very good.
I've heard.
They're not very good. All from me. I'm constantly telling you this shit. Yeah, they're not good, but do you know what? This might make them good.
Yeah, maybe.
It could bit sort of explain the fact that they're a bit crap.
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether maybe they're going to go down the route that in the first one, when they sort of half beat the Matrix or the machines that were running it, and then they basically won the war at the end of in 2 and 3. I'm wondering whether the whole story that happened in 2 and 3 was like a dream within the Matrix, so that Neo's character or the rest of the characters thought they'd won the war.
Yeah.
And do you get what I mean?
Could it be the Matrix learning how Neo would like respond and fight to those things?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
I bit like Resident Evil. You know, like how they kept reproducing Mila Jovovich to see how she would deal with everything, to understand like her process, because they know that Neo's obviously stronger. So it's like they've put him in a program that could...
Maybe Neo's not even human. Maybe Neo's a creation of the Matrix.
Maybe.
And the real world that we see is actually like Inception style. Like that's the Matrix.
Yeah.
But it's made to look like the real world. I'm getting really excited about this now. Can't wait. Cannot wait for this. We'll start talking about it anyway, because it's not really superhero-ish, but it is because he can fly. He can fly and he's telekinetic. It's superheroes. Okay. Bit more Marvel then. Doctor Strange 2, only a little bit of news. There was images of a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness Lego set come out last week. Have you seen this? People are fuming because they said it spoiled the movie. So we're going to spoil it. So, but can we just say, right, the Lego sets aren't very often canon.
No.
What's in the sets doesn't always happen. Yeah. I mean, and I always go back to the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. There's a Lego set with the Mandarin and like a mech fighting Iron Man, and it's whatchamacallit, it's Ben Kingsley's Mandarin fighting Iron Man. So just because it's in a Lego set doesn't mean it's going to happen. Yeah. But it's got Doctor Strange, it's got America Chavez, who we still haven't really seen anything other than I think crew gift and Lego anything. And then it's got the big monster with one eye with all the tentacles, but it's called Gargantos.
Is it like the child set? Of...
Oh, is that what it is? It's the child of Shuma Gorath.
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, make more sense.
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced it's real, though.
I know, I think
Lego just liked it. I don't think... Marvel know what they're doing, and I can't believe Marvel would leak a huge plot point like this in a Lego set.
It's the same with Mark Ruffalo at the minute. Everything that he's been teased in so far, he's been in a different form. With Hulk and stuff like that, and it's those kind of things with their marketing and how they're doing it that I just think, where's this really going? Clever.
I think most leaks that come out are orchestrated by
Marvel. 100%.
Just to get people
it's to drum up the excitement.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just free marketing. You leak something in speech marks on Twitter, and it's just free marketing. You've not had to produce anything. You can just put a shoddy, horrible.
So do you reckon Doc Ock was on purpose?
Art.
When he first said that he was in the film, and it was from the moment that he died.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Kevin Feige, very, very, very clever man.
Yeah.
Very clever man. Back onto Spider-Man then. There was a new TikTok, or Daily Bugle TikTok, came out this week. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't added them, you know.
Account.
I need to add them.
See, I'm on it. I'm all over it. You're normally the TikTok guy. Again, not much to it. It's Betty Brant again, and she is reporting that they're having really weird weather. That was really hard to say. Really weird weather in New York, and they're having lightning storms and a sandstorm as well. And then I think halfway through the TikTok, she says, "Is this something to do with new villains turning up in New York?" And then JJ cuts her off, and she has to come back on and say, "I've been told that as the worst intern, I'm the worst intern at the Daily Bugle, and I've been told that it isn't super villains, it's the Spider Menace. I've been told." So she's basically been told by JJ. But again, just not that we didn't now know that Sandman and Electro are in it, but the marketing is proper getting going now, which again is so weird because we've had nothing for months, and now it's like, right, like open the floodgates.
I'm surprised it hasn't come up on my For You page, you know.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
As soon as I look at so much Marvel stuff.
I don't think I saw it on TikTok. I think I saw it on like comicbook.com or comicbookmovie.com and then just clicked on it from there. A bit more Marvel news. We put this on the trailer. Kobe Smulders is confirmed to be returning in Secret Invasion, which is so amazing. She's such a good character. When I was putting the trailer together for this week's episode, going back and looking at all the clips and finding little bits of her, she's such a good character.
I still love that outtake when Coulson died and thinking, no, he was such a great person.
So good. So good. Not surprising that she's back, but so good. I wonder whether she's going to be playing Maria Hill or Soren, Talos' wife, or both.
Oh.
I know she wouldn't play Soren, but is it going to be the actual Maria Hill? Because I suppose when you think about it from the end of Far From Home, we know why Nick Fury wasn't there. Because Nick Fury was in space, but we can only assume Maria Hill's in space. With him.
We don't know.
We never really had it questioned as to where she is. She could be dead.
She could be.
Could be dead. But
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I like that. But again, how long is... There's all those questions as to how... I think we talked about it last week or the week before. How long has Talos been Nick Fury?
Yeah.
Because there's theories out there that he's been Nick Fury
with the way he his toast and stuff like that.
Yeah, in Age of Ultron. He cut his toast diagonally in Age of Ultron. So has that been Talos since Age of Ultron? Which would completely make sense because the movie before Age of Ultron was Winter Soldier, which is when he got shot. Yeah. And he was really, really injured. And then later in the movie, he's just up and walking about. So it would explain that the real Nick Fury's gone off to space. Talos has stepped in, which is why he's up and about again. Yeah. But has Maria Hill been... not Maria Hill since then?
Maybe.
And for the entirety of the MCU since Age of Ultron, we've actually had Soren.
Oh, it'd be so good.
It's so good.
Because it also still explains why Nick Fury would have still called on Captain America. I mean, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, because it was Talos, and Talos had already been helped by it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, it's all so good.
So deep.
I love it.
It's like the Matrix. Right, last thing before we move on to Hawkeye then, the new Peacemaker trailer, which Anthony has just watched. So completely fresh eyes. Only got dropped yesterday on Twitter by my new best friend, James Gunn, who liked our tweet. Yes, I am buzzing off it.
We did nearly
So's Anthony.
James, if you're listening, let us interview you, please.
I know, yeah, he's not listening. I did put in the tweet that he liked that we'd be talking about it on the podcast, so maybe he is.
Maybe he is. If you are, we would love to interview you.
Yeah, just a bit. I was very impressed at how many people liked the tweet when I think I tweeted just a picture of the fact that he liked it with a little mind-blown emoji. Yeah. I got so many people saying congratulations and stuff like that, which just feels weird, but I appreciate
Mazel tov.
No, congratulations. Congratulations, James Gunn knows you exist. Well done.
You're on his radar.
I'm all right with it, though. I'm happy with it. But yeah, breaking down the trailer a little bit then. I was already... this is exactly what I said in the tweet, and I'm going to reiterate it just in case James is listening, but he's not. We were already excited for it. Yeah. Even more excited now that I've seen this trailer. And I put it in the tweet. It looks... And even the trailer, I'm sure the show is. It is a perfect balance between humour and... quite a deep story from this. None of the previous trailers had made it look like it was going to be, like any sort of emotion or anything like that. It was just going to be like a killer and he was going to be funny. But this trailer does definitely go down the route where it's going to be maybe a bit more of a redemption story. Yeah, and I mean, what I really like with it, that you can see that there's real daddy issues in this. Yeah. And it's about him trying to show his dad that he's worthy. Yeah. Whereas with a lot of the superheroes in the past that we've seen, it's never been about something like that. It's always been about the greater good, or it's been about their own ego, or it's all self-conflicting problems. Whereas this is actually brought from childhood for him, clearly. Yeah, exactly. And it's about him trying to finally get his approval from his dad. Yeah. So it's quite deep in that sense, but it's also absolutely friggin' hilarious. I know, yeah. Like, I'm so excited. Eagly, I think, is going to be my favourite character. I'm already seeing that. Like, I hope there's more. I hope he's in it loads. I think Eagly's going to be great, but I also think Vigilante is mate with him, who just, it's weird. He's got quite a cool superhero costume. Yeah, it's quite tough, and then he seems to take off the mask, and he's just this little nerdy dude with glasses. It's like Kick-Ass, but worse. It is. Yeah, it does. It's like Kick-Ass. But I've got a feeling that he's going to be Peacemaker throughout the series is going to have like a proper redemption arc, and he's going to go from being an absolute dick to still probably a bit of a dick, but not just going around killing people.
Yeah.
But I feel like Vigilante isn't going to be. He's going to be like, what are you thinking?
Well, it seems like in this, we're seeing where he draws the line as well in the trailer.
Which is kids.
Which is,
Yeah.
But I'm also excited. I can't remember her name, so forgive me, but the one that was in Orange is the New Black.
Danielle Brooks.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I think she's going to be brilliant.
I do. The only thing I've ever seen her in is Orange is the New Black, and she completely... Phenomenal. She stole the show in that.
Yeah,
she was I can remember her story arc much more than I can remember. I can't even... Was it Piper?
Yeah.
I can't really remember her story arc or where
I don't think
finished.
Piper knew what her story arc was the entire time she was in there, though, to be fair.
And I didn't really care. I didn't really care. I was more interested. It was Tasty, wasn't it? That was her name, Danielle Brooks' character.
Yeah.
I was much more in because there's so many stories going on in it.
Yeah.
And whether it was because of the writing or the acting from her and castmates, but that was much more the story that I was interested in when I was watching it. So I'm really keen to see what she can bring to this. But even from what we see in the trailer so far, she looks like she's going to absolutely kill it.
Yeah,
we also see quite a lot. You've mentioned the daddy issues. We see a lot of Robert Patrick.
Yeah,
in the trailer
I love him, by the way, as well.
He's
to be
such a
fair,
good actor.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play a really good dickhead dad at the end of the day, who Peacemaker's just trying to get sort of his approval. That's it. Yeah. He just wants his dad to be proud of him. But then he's going to get to the point where he doesn't want his dad to be proud of him. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
By the end. But I can't wait. That last line as well, when he's making he's got like the bomb. Has he got like a shell from a tank and he straps a grenade to it?
Yeah.
He said he just invented it this morning, and it's just that line when he throws it. He's like, "Eat peace, motherfuckers!" when he throws it, and just gone. So good. The writing is boss. So that is coming January, I think it is, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
January. There was a date at the end of the trailer. Sorry, we should have checked that. But it's coming January. It's HBO Max. There were a few people asking on Twitter how we're getting it in the UK.
Yeah.
One of our listeners, Peacemaker, he was actually chasing James Gunn on Twitter to say how are we going to watch it, and it seems to be that it's going to be on Sky or Now TV in the UK. James Gunn did say in a tweet that it's going to be available pretty much everywhere as it launches on HBO Max. There might be a little bit of a delay, but it's just going to be a case of getting Now TV or Sky, or getting it on. No, don't say you can get it any other way, because James Gunn might be listening. He won't be, but he might be. But yeah, that's it for news. Should we talk about Hawkeye?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Hawkeye episode 3, Echoes, I think it was called. Obviously, why it was called Echoes. We'll break it down. When I've done my notes on this, I've pretty much done it in order as it's gone, which we haven't done for a little while, but it just flowed quite well. We'll talk through it.
Well, the way they set it out is probably the way we'd have talked about it anyway. So definitely. At the beginning, you've just got Echo's arc. You've got her backstory.
Exactly.
So that we learn who she is before we actually meet. Well, at the moment that we're meeting her.
Yeah, exactly. So, it did a really good job in such a short time.
Yeah.
Establishing her whole backstory.
Do you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Getting Loki up to speed.
What do you mean?
For the speed that they did it, getting Loki, when we started the series of Loki, from when he enters there, obviously it's not the Loki that we know now, but we had to catch him up to kind of get to that level of Loki that we had before. So we watched all of his...
Yes, I know.
Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of like
when
that.
When he was watching all the videos
we all just came up to speed at the exact same time, and it was very quick, but it set it well.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and in such a short time, how you just empathised with her completely.
Yeah.
Because she was kind of... I know we know she's not going to be a complete bad guy because she's getting her own show, unless that's the way that Marvel are going with the show, potentially. But it did a really good job of turning her from potential full-on villain at the end of episode 2 to you completely get her and understand her and completely, whether you agree with it or not, completely get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
So, you just feel like you know her as a character, particularly the fact that in this she doesn't really speak much as a kid, and she hardly has I know she doesn't speak, but even when she's doing like the sign language through the rest of the episode, she doesn't really say much. No. But she's it's just the looks that she seems to give everybody. And like the kind of dirty looks.
I must admit, and this is probably going to be my only negative comment about Hawkeye, because I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit gutted that they're throwing away the sign language aspect a little bit. It seems to be like not completely, but a little bit out of shot when they're doing it and stuff. And I thought,
when she's talking to Cassie at the end, it's like she just looks at him and he looks her dead in the eye, and he seems to go, "I'll be having a full-on conversation with her."
Which could be the case, if they've worked together and been that close for so long, then that might be the case. However, what a moment to be able to like bring something like sign language into such a big universe and stuff like that, and I feel like they're missing it just slightly.
Well, to be fair, as far as I know, Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld learned ASL for the series.
Amazing.
Yeah, so the fact that they've taken the time. I know what you mean, We had like a little bit of a moment where Clint was trying to do the sign language and wasn't really getting it. Said like, "Can I have a cookie, please?" or something like that. Yeah. But they're not. They've sort of made out as if it's gonna be a big part, and they're not really done much with it. But I feel like that's the reason why they've made Hawkeye deaf, to give him a bit of a, I don't know whether I say bond, but like a mutual respect between him and Echo. So he can completely understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And I think it sort of planted the seed when she said to him, "You shouldn't be relying on technology like your hearing aid. You should basically learn like sign language pretty much.
You should rely on your own body. It's that
exactly,
thing. Learn on what you've got and not what you can acquire.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that's gonna give them, whether they're gonna end up friends at the end, I'm not too sure. I mean, we'll talk about the ending of the episode and where sort of their arc's gonna go.
Yeah.
But they're definitely gonna have to finish this with some sort of, not friendship, but an understanding of each other. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Go before we sort of move on though, going back to the very beginning of the opening when she's in the school, felt really sorry for her for a start. Again, 2007, it just made me feel so old.
God, yeah.
Straight away.
When I saw that, I was like, no.
We just seen this grown woman in the previous episode, and we now see her as a really, really little kid in 2007.
I was in sixth form at that point.
I know, it's just like, oh God. I'm so old. I was on my 22nd birthday this week. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with. But yeah, talking about her story then, again, the fact that she was in the normal school because her dad couldn't afford the deaf school.
Yeah.
He's not a very good criminal, is he?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're just supposed to think he's poor, and then very quickly it becomes apparent that he's probably running some sort of criminal gang or second in command. When you think,
and he still just sacked her off completely and was like, "No, I'm not going to pay the extra fee. I'm going to keep it for myself."
Exactly.
However, I'll give you a half decent leg.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Like, it just didn't that's the bit that didn't make sense.
Though, because it's made he says like it'll make you stronger. For it, and it does. And you see sort of, I wouldn't say her powers, because in the comics, she's got, I think we mentioned it last week, she's got photographic reflexes, like Taskmaster. She doesn't seem to, they're not pushing that anyway. They seem to be pushing it that she's got heightened senses. Not through like powers like Daredevil, but because she's having to rely on her other senses. She can sort of focus in and seems to be able to like pick somebody's weakness and just completely capitalize on it. That's what we see from like when she's in the karate class as a kid, and then when she's doing the like the Muay Thai boxing or something like that. But that would seem to be the way that they're going with the powers in this one. The dad then, so lovely caring dad, lovely bloke, but also working for a criminal organization. But it's quite did you get like quite conflicted feelings when you saw him die? Because Ronan's killed him, and you sort of get, or we think Ronan's killed him, and you sort of completely get why she then hates Ronan, because we know now why she's after him, and you feel sorry for her and for him. But then at the end of the day, he's only killed him because he was going around ridding the world of the worst criminal gangs. Yeah. So I don't know what Marvel are doing with that.
No. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
It is. I don't know how to feel about it.
I've got a really weird feeling that
it's not Ronan.
No,
I don't think it's Ronan.
I've got a feeling it's her mum.
Do you? Why would it be her mum? I was thinking Jack.
No, I'm starting to go down this route of mum knows what's going on.
I still think mum's like a complete bad guy, but I don't think, I'm not sure about mum. the one who killed.
I don't think she's the one who killed. I think she's the one who orchestrated the death.
Oh, I will be devastated though if we get to the end of this and it's not Kingpin. What would you? Because it could be.
It could be.
Because we talk, and we'll go through the episode. We're going to jump about like we always do, but at the end or towards the end, Clint tells Kate, he says, "Echo's not the leader of the gang. There's somebody above her, and you don't want to mess with them," or something along those lines. And from the hints that we've had through the episode already, it's going to be Kingpin. But how would you feel? Because I want it to be Kingpin, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
How would you feel if we got to the end of the series or like to the next episode? Because there's only 3 episodes left, and we found out that the whole thing was being orchestrated by her mum, and there's no Vincent D'Onofrio.
I don't know, because I do also love Vera Farmiga.
Yeah, I know,
and
but
she plays an amazing villain. So, and it might mean that Kingpin is saved for something better.
I think though that it'll feel like a bit of a waste, because I think if she turns out to be the villain, that'll be her. That'll be her story arc gone. Yeah. You know, obviously it'll be echoed in future things, the fact that Kate's mum was the villain. Yeah. But I feel like that'll be the last we see of Vera Farmiga.
I think could be Kingpin as the leader of the gang. Yeah. But she owns a security company.
I know what you mean.
She is a very good person to have in Kingpin's pocket. Yeah. So what if she's the number 2?
Yeah, could be.
Do you know what I mean? Like it'd still then work, and she'd be there, but she'd have the protection of Kingpin in the process. Yeah. So she could come back.
I don't know where. Yeah.
And maybe Kingpin has told her to marry Jack. Maybe for the benefit of the gang.
Yeah, and the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's why, obviously, the uncle's then been killed because he's been onto it.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe that's why. That's the reason why. He wasn't just being snooty and stuck up. No. He just, because he knew she had links to Kingpin. Yeah. Could be that, couldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's more like... I'd be happy with that. Yeah. Because it's definitely... I mean, we see, like, when Kate's at the... Oh, not Kate. When Maya's at the karate. Yeah, yeah. Her uncle comes up and touches her her face. And that laugh is 100% Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah. As King. It's got... Or it sounds extremely like him. So they're obviously pushing the fact that this is Kingpin. Yeah. But again, I just don't trust. I trust Kevin Feige completely, but I don't trust him in the slightest. If that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. But in the comics, Kingpin is responsible for the death of her dad. I don't know if they were related. Because I think she's his adopted daughter because her dad died. A bit
like Thanos was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose it kind of makes sense that they were moving away from that, because it would just seem like a complete copy of Thanos and Gamora. But in the comics, my understanding is that Kingpin has the dad killed, or kills him himself, I don't know which, but then pins the blame on Daredevil in the comics, and then she's got a vendetta against Daredevil. In this, she's obviously got the vendetta against Ronin, but it's got me questioning, was that Clint? Was that Clint who killed her, who went in on that day and wiped out the Tracksuit Mafia, which I assume it was, or an older version of the Tracksuit Mafia, and her dad? Because I wonder whether if we were supposed to 100% know it was Clint, we would have seen Clint's face or even his eyes, but we didn't. We saw nothing. We just saw somebody in a Ronin suit. Yeah. And we know that, I suppose we don't know when that happened, when that occurred, because it was adult Echo, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not buying the fact that it was Clint.
No,
I'm not.
I don't think
I'm
it was
not
Clint.
buying the fact that it was Clint.
I don't think.
But that's what I thought. I thought it's more likely it's Jack, because Jack's the swordsman. Yeah. Or completely out of left field, Bullseye. Maybe. And he's been hired by Fisk to do that. Yeah, maybe. Or it could be Kazi. Could be. What if it's him? You know, the guy who's Echo's right hand man. Yeah. What if it was him who did it, and he completely knows what's going on? Yeah. Because there's more to him.
That'd be a good twist.
It would be. Yeah. There's more to him. There's so many potential villains in this. Yeah. Kind of too many. Not too many, but we've only got 3 episodes left. Yeah. And apparently the next episode, so this episode that we've just had this week was 43 minutes.
Was it?
Yeah.
God, that's quite long.
But I think the first episode was 52 and the second episode was like 48. This one was 43, so shorter again. But there's a rumour going around online that the combined length of episode 3 and 4 is only 80 minutes, which would mean that next week's episode is only half an hour or 37 minutes. or just over 30 minutes with credits, I suppose. But I know we're only 2 weeks into it, but there's not that many episodes left of this. So
there's not much time to wrap it
up.
But
there feels like there's a lot going on.
It feels like we've not really touched on it all yet.
No, it feels like all we've had is character introductions.
Yeah.
And like little tiny tastes and teasers of potential ways that it's going to go, or potential villains. But I do feel like so far
it's a bit like Cluedo, innit? Who done it?
Yeah, but I don't feel like Echo's a villain, or if she is, she's going to go good. We've potentially got Fisk, Kingpin. We've got Mom. We've got Jack, and we've got potentially Kazi.
Yeah.
So there's 4 potential people who could be running the show here, and we've got probably an hour and a half left to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot from that opening. Did a really, really good job. So actually, just before we move on to like the rest, move on from the intro or the opening, there's a bit where when the dad dies and she's sort of like holding him as he's dying, he touches her face and she gets the blood all over her face.
Yeah.
And in the comics, she has a white handprint on her face. That's like her costume.
Oh, okay.
So I get the impression that was trying to... Because we're not going to get her walking around with a big white handprint looking like an Hawkeye from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So, well, it'd be definitely an interesting way to go. But yeah, I wonder whether that was kind of like a nod to it. Like, we're not doing it. We're not going to do it, but the hair like a little bit of a taste there.
Yeah.
So after we got the intro there, and that's when the episode properly started. It was a long intro though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we got back to... again, we're not going to go through every step of it, but just bits.
The pair of them on the fucking
unicorn,
just going, and then the tracksuit guys just laughing there.
The tracksuit mafia,
they were so funny.
They're so good. I feel like this whole episode of the podcast is going to be me saying Marvel have done a good job of this, and Marvel have done a good job of that. But they've absolutely nailed the tracksuit mafia.
Honestly, I feel like the tracksuit mafia should just constantly be
in everything. I agree.
Like. Yeah, because there's always that thing where there's always like a small fight. Like you come into the story at the end of a small fight with a superhero, and it should just always be the tracksuit gang just being foiled again. And it's a bit like Scooby-Doo in it, and it's like, I'm gonna get you.
I want it to be that little group that we've seen so far, like the big dude and then the Imagine Dragons fan. I just want it to be them all the time. But Marvel are always getting criticised for saying they have a villain problem. And particularly when they've got like their like unnamed or the faceless army.
Yeah.
But somehow Marvel have managed to give us a faceless army in the tracksuit mafia. But you kind of know the individuals, even though you don't know any of their names, but you know each one. Yeah. And you kind of know.
You could literally just call them the 7 dwarf names or something, couldn't you? You could just make them up.
They're so
and be like,
good.
Oh, there's Dozy.
Exactly.
There's Chavy.
Just the fact though that we got this whole conversation about my girlfriend's not talking to me because I got her Imagine Dragons tickets. She doesn't even like Imagine Dragons. I love them, and she's going with her friend. It's just like,
so good.
Who thinks of these things just to drop in there? Because it's so random.
It is.
But it didn't make the episode, but the whole scene, it was just like, it brought it down and really mellowed it out before it went like full on again. Loved it. So funny. We got into the whole sign language thing after that, which was like the whole conversation between like Kazi and Echo, and then Clint as well. This was where I was wondering sort of where it's going, because, and this is what, and I know we're sort of going back to it, but just from this whole interaction just made me think, which I've already said, they're going to end up having to be some sort of mates or mutual respect for each other. But again, that's why I'm thinking it's not Clint, because I don't think I can't see.
Do you reckon
forgiving him?
They might find out. I've got a feeling it's going to be, they'll find out who it actually is, and it'll be like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Potentially.
And that they might join up and fight alongside the tracksuit gang.
Oh, that'd be so good. Yes,
to fight whoever it is that's doing it.
The tracksuit mafia turning good, not turning good, having to fight alongside them.
But it'd be funnier if Hawkeye's literally like just throwing tracksuit men in front of himself to protect him while they're like just absolutely going in like lemons or something like that.
Yeah, like really funny. As if like Kingpin's just using the tracksuit mafia and Echo as collateral.
Yeah.
But he's got his own sort of like army or faceless army.
Yeah,
and they're pissed off at the fact that they were just the able to go in and they were cannon fodder, so they helped fight back. Yeah, that'd be great. The tracksuit mafia and the LARPers all running around dressed as Ronin. That's what I want. Yeah. All interacting together. Yeah, I'm all right with that. Because can you just imagine the interactions like between that firefighter from episode 2's the LARPers and one of the tracksuit mafia, both dressed up as Ronin, being like, "What do you do then?" Do you know what I mean?
One of them just saying, "I've got a spare ticket for Imagination Dragons."
So, yes.
And then it's like, "Oh, can I come?"
That's it. That would be so good. So the next bit we got, which we need to talk about, is the whole Hawkeye versus Echo fight. And again, that's why that whole Imagine Dragons conversation worked so well, because it brought us from quite a heavy opening intro, completely tones it down to like comedy, and then back up. So it's quite like it. Sounds cheesy to say it's an emotional roller coaster, but that's kind of
the way it's
where they're trying to go with it, isn't it? I thought the whole fight between Hawkeye and Echo was really good though, because it was silent. Yeah. There was no giving each other stick or like little jabs at like verbal jabs at each other. It was just complete. It wasn't silent, but there was no talking. Yeah. And it was just. It feels like we don't get that.
No,
because there's normally like little comic like
little
quips
and stuff.
Jokes. Yeah. So it did just feel a bit. It felt a bit weird. I've watched this twice, and the first time I watched it at home. And to be fair, I was watching like 1:00 in the morning, so I had to have the volume quite low. Yeah. But I went through the whole episode thinking that it is a really quiet episode. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, part of it is because obviously quite early on in the episode they knock out his hearing aid and then they step on it and squash it.
In this fight, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think that I think they've turned everything down a little bit after they've done that as well.
Yeah, I get it.
So as much as, you know, we're hearing bits where it's all muffled because he can't hear anything and then the normal sound, I think that normal sound has been brought down a little bit as well.
Yeah, probably.
And I actually think that that's a really clever thing to do.
Yeah, like definitely had the effect.
It's a totally different kind of look on the whole
I know
episode.
What you mean. Yeah,
but I just
no, because normally everything's like big, loud bangs, action, loads of really weird sound effects and stuff like that, and it was just quiet, and you could just focus on the actual fight.
Down to the car chase.
That was quite.
It wasn't loud.
Talk about the car chase. I mean, I love the car chase.
Car chase is
so good.
Yeah,
but the with this fight, we don't. I know it's a Hawkeye series, but I feel like Hawkeye's very rarely, if ever, the main focus.
Yeah.
He's always helping.
Yeah.
So seeing him, it was kind of like when we saw Nat in Black Widow, but I feel like this was done a lot better.
Yeah.
Which isn't fair, but it just was.
Yeah.
And I was going to say maybe they learnt from Black Widow, but these were probably filmed very, very close together, if not partially at the same time.
Yeah.
I just feel like they've done a much better job with this one.
Yeah.
But seeing him, just seeing Clint fight and being the hero, and he was holding his own completely against her.
But also not being arsed with it. Like,
yes.
I love that about him as well.
He doesn't want to be here, does he?
It's like, I just want to go home and have Christmas with me kids.
Exactly.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be fighting you. I want to get the easiest route back so that I can go home. And every time something new happens, he just does that. It's almost like a Mr. Bean doing that. Oh,
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Something else.
That, I live for that, because even though our lives aren't obviously as grand as his, we get that all the time. We have that feeling all the time. And it's nice to see that a superhero gets that feeling.
Isn't the same? Yeah. And there's loads of bits throughout the episode where it's like he is just a dad. He's just a normal dude. He's probably got it even harder than most of us.
Yeah.
Taking away the superhero side of things, but it is, and maybe that's what makes it better or more, what gets you more into it than Black Widow did, because he's just a family. He's just a dad.
I totally think he can't walk away because Kate's literally like the same age as his daughter.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing that's stopping him, because he's like, what if it was my
He's
kid?
A really good dude though, isn't he?
No, he is 100%.
He's struggling with it, and he talks about it later like he's not a role model.
Yeah.
But he is, but he doesn't think of himself as one. No. And I think that's why you like the character more and you empathise more with him.
The guilt is hitting him more about being Ronin.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's half the battle with him now, is that he really regrets that he did that, but at the same time, he'd lost his whole family. He'd gone into a really dark place.
I know.
So he went to black and white. A baddie is a baddie, and I'm going to get rid of them.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that's clever by Marvel, because at the time when we had the whole Ronin thing in Endgame, it was good and it was a different arc for him.
Yeah.
But it didn't entirely... It made sense because it made sense from a story perspective, but it didn't really make sense to me why they'd done it. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? I wonder whether that whole thing in Endgame was so that they could do... Was the setup for this. Yeah. Because it's given us a really, really deep story about Clint.
But do you know what, though? I think it's all been a happy coincidence in that if you like, I'm not going to go too much into it, but if you look at Endgame, if you look at all of the characters that survived, and this is what the Russo brothers said specifically about it, it's not about the deaths of everybody, it's about the people that they left behind.
Yes.
And everybody has their own version of how they've been dealing with that loss the whole time.
Yeah.
Because you've got Fat Thor, you've got Black Widow. I mean, Natasha, she was really struggling in her own way. She'd given up. She'd totally given up. She thought we were never going to find anyone again. Then you had Clint going off and killing everybody that he could find just because he didn't think those people deserved to be on the planet, and the people that did had been taken and things like that.
Yeah.
And I loved that everybody had their own reaction to what had gone on.
I know what you mean.
And for this then to follow on
Tony just got on with it.
Yeah.
Tony's just like, oh well, family time.
No, well, I mean, to be honest,
but that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, Tony did get on with it and he focused on, but that's because he had nothing else at that point.
Yeah.
Because everything that he'd been working toward had all gone by this point, and it's like, well, now I've got nothing to keep bettering myself with, so I can be the family man that I've always wanted to do, but this got in the way. And again, that's another reaction to everything that's gone on. And so I love that they've done that for a specific reason, but then been able to build off it in this. And I don't think that they knew that this was where they were going. I think it was just a happy coincidence.
Yeah. No, probably, possibly. Yeah. I know they plan for miles ahead, don't they? But
they do.
It's I think sometimes it's a happy accident.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where can we take the story from here? But it works. It works
so well.
Going back to that fight then between Echo and Clint, as good as it was when he was sort of fighting a hand to hand and he was holding his own.
Yeah.
The change you see in him when he gets his bow and arrow, he just goes full on superhero. And I know obviously it's Hawkeye, and I know we know he's good with a bow and arrow.
Yeah. But
he's so good. Like the flying down sideways.
Oh my god, that was so good.
It skims past Cassie's face and breaks Kate's duct tape around her wrist.
Yeah.
He's so good. And again, even when he's deaf.
Yeah.
So there's one moment where he takes out two guys with two arrows but fires them at once.
And then he
gets down on the floor and gets somebody behind him.
Yeah.
But he can't hear him.
No.
So how does he do that? Is that a plot hole? Or is that just how good Hawkeye is?
I think that's just how good Hawkeye is.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. But he's so good. He's such a good...
I know.
I'm going to feel like we're not going to have him anymore after this. I don't think he's going to die.
No.
They can't kill him off. But... I think this is very much for passing.
Do you know what
I
would love? I would love for him to be at some kind of new Avengers base and training the next ones.
Yeah.
Because he's still around and he's still doing stuff, but it can be a 9-to-5 job and he can go home to his family.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that when we get to the end of the next arc and we have another Endgame moment, we can have Hawkeye back because he's still very much amongst it all.
Yeah.
That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
I'd like that.
And we said passing the torch to Kate.
Yeah.
She proper holds her own in this as well, even without the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But again, still makes sense to bring in. But it still looks a bit scrappy.
Her fight with Cassie is like...
amazing, but still a bit scrappy, like it's not polished, which again, it doesn't seem ridiculous.
And jumping very quickly back to Loki a second, when we watched the how they made it bit and they talked about the different styles of fighting and stuff like that, everything is done for a reason. So they'll have purposefully made sure that her fight is quite scrappy so that she's got somewhere to go as she develops as a character as well, which I think is amazing.
So we can see her. We can see her grow throughout the series and hopefully in movies and stuff. Which again feels weird that we're going to see her in the TV series first, and then she's going to just hopefully be popping up in movies as it goes forward. But yeah, I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Let's talk about the car chase then. So we've already seen loads of this car chase before this episode.
In the trailers.
I think there was a clip released of it.
Yeah.
it didn't take away from it.
No.
The thing that got me was I think I've seen it called a wanna in other things, like in Daredevil.
Yeah.
I know there's one in James Bond. The fact that it was just one shot.
Yeah.
Like when they got in and it panned round the car, the inside of the car, like twice.
It's so clever.
I love shots like that when they do that, because it just, the amount of work that, and whether there are cuts in it and it's just made to look like a wanna, but the music as well. I can't remember what the music was now. It was a Christmas song that was playing in the car.
Yeah, and
on the radio.
Like
it was off
the music
all the way.
in general all the way through this series has been amazing.
Yeah.
Because they keep playing like holiday music to fights.
I know.
And it doesn't work, but it works perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love it when it's like that. I mean, we've seen comedic music to fights and stuff like that.
But never Christmas music.
But it's never been something that just has nothing to do with what's happening in the scene, and it just works so well, and it just makes me laugh so much. It's brilliant.
There's got to be more.
And I mean, like the fact that I love that she does not stop talking to him, and he can't hear a fucking word she says. And it's just so funny. And by the end of the episode, they're ending up saying the same thing.
Yes.
And I love that, because obviously they've
got to walk the dog. He's been sat in the house all day on his own.
Yeah, while they're on the train. But when she's shouting about, because he says you can't use any of these trick arrows.
Yeah.
And then she uses the one that explodes the van. She's like, there's 4 that are worse than this. Like, it's all that kind of stuff that just makes me laugh so much.
Yeah.
And some of them, I mean, it's really weird because we've only ever seen his arrows that do damage.
Yeah.
We've seen his standard ones, his pulling people off thing ones, the explosive ones, all of that kind of stuff. But the purple, bubbly, foamy stuff.
The Play-Doh one.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then the fake ones, like when she uses one that's actually just a plunger.
It's just a plunger. Yeah, I know.
The windscreen. Like, it was just so funny. Like, the way they did that entire scene was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it.
There were loads of a proper little arsenal, didn't he? He had like acid arrows.
Acid arrow, yeah.
Yeah. What else did he have? It was explosive. There was a plunger. There was the one that pulled all the Christmas trees onto the car. That was interesting.
Yeah. I like that.
Did you notice? And
I wonder whether that was like a Spider-Man themed one.
Yeah, maybe.
Like pulling things in.
Yeah. Did you notice that they were all purple? Like the Play-Doh was purple. The smoke was purple. So he's already got his Hawkeye colour scheme.
Yeah.
Definitely going down that route.
I love it.
And then, so talking about the other arrows, we got the Pym arrow.
Yes.
As soon as it focused in on Pym,
I was like, oh, it's going to grow.
So close. So impressed with that.
Do you know what would have been even funnier though?
Where's it going?
I would have laughed so much if it had just shrunk and just hit someone just above their eyebrow and they're like, ow!
And the USB one does when she hits him in the stomach. With the yeah, he's just like, fuck off. That was a proper callback though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To What If? Because I don't think we've ever seen a USB arrow. No. And then we saw the one that Natasha used to kill Ultron. That'd hurt more than that it hurt him. I think it's a USB. If that's going at that speed, that'd wreck that.
I know.
But yeah, the whole communication between them, you already mentioned it though. Like the fact that she's like buzzing off the fact that eventually like we're communicating, it's working, it's working. Like he's like, I think she says like, this would be a lot easier if the car was going the other way, and then a second later he goes, this would be a lot easier if the car was going the other way. Absolutely.
It's just so good the way they did that.
So we went from the again, it jumps around loads in a good way. That scene was epic. The whole car chase, as we said. Loved it so much, but full on action. And then probably, I don't know if it's the very next scene, but the other big scene, which again a lot of people are talking about,
the phone call,
is the phone call.
Yeah,
this hit
I think
me.
It was pretty much the next scene because they were then they got to her apartment, didn't they?
They did, yeah, because they were talking about walking the dog, weren't they?
Yeah.
That hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah,
I'd seen it was coming before I watched it, because I think some of the Pod Fans Assembles had said like that the conversation with his son. Didn't expect it to be Nathaniel. I expected it to be his older son for some reason. But that was brutal.
I know.
That, especially having 2 kids, it was so hard to watch. It didn't get me teary, which some Marvel stuff does, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. But it, again, looking at the parallels and stuff with like that Marvel are so good at, you've got this absolute badass in Hawkeye, who we've just seen when he gets a bow and arrow. Even though he's got no superpowers, he is a full-on superhero.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Completely. Yeah. He's just taken out the whole tracksuit mafia, which probably isn't saying much, but he's taken out the whole tracksuit mafia. he's fought Thanos.
Yeah.
He's fought Chitauri.
Yeah.
And he can do all this, but then he can't take a phone call from his son.
Yeah.
Because he can't, which is partly down to all the fighting that he's done, but he's got all this power. And then when it actually goes back to the things that he gives a shit about, which is going back to his family for Christmas, like what you said, he can't do it.
Yeah.
And again, it's brilliant. It's great, the parallel, but it was hard. It was tough. It was tough to watch. But again, that's what makes him come across as human.
And it also makes you understand more why he wasn't really in Civil War.
Yeah, because he just wanted to. Because he'd taken the deal to go to his family.
This is not a fight I'm willing to partake.
Makes you realise how bad a dad Scott Lang is.
Yeah.
Clint's the good dad.
Yeah.
Who's like, no, I don't want to fight with Captain America. I'm going to stay with my family. Scott's like, screw Cassie. I'm going to fight with Captain America. If I never see that kid again, that's
Didn't
fine.
vanish, but I was still gone 5 years.
Exactly. But yeah, it does that, and I think that's why we empathise with him, and it's why, and I'm not just bigging up Marvel, but loads of different companies do it, and loads of different studios do it, but it's a really good way of making somebody who we've just seen basically being a superhero, you can relate.
Yeah,
and I know obviously we're not deaf and you've not got kids, but it just makes them
it makes them more human.
It does.
It's like at the end of the day, you're sitting watching them do all this fantastical stuff, but these kind of scenes bring them back down to earth, and you go, okay, that they're just people at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We've got people like Thor and stuff like that who are otherworldly and have all these powers and stuff, but we have got these people who are grounded that are just humans that are just trying to make their way through life.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's built himself up on this kind of obligation to help the world.
Yeah.
When all he wants to do is stay with his family. But I also think that he's stayed on for as long as he has because of the Ronin thing as well.
Yes.
I think he's trying to appease the fact that
and probably in the Avengers to support Natasha.
Oh God,
because he wouldn't go while she was while she was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very clever. And again, that's why we've said it before about these really, really super powered superheroes like Wanda and Doctor Strange and stuff like that. I think that's why you care more about the likes of Hawkeye, because it's just more real. I've got to say that whole thing, as well as being a bit tough to watch, it also made me feel really old again. And it was just the moment when he said his name, Nathaniel, and I jumped back to the fact that was the baby that wasn't actually born yet in Age of Ultron.
Oh God, yeah.
And that kid's now playing Hawkeye.
Didn't even think of that. Because
I jumped.
That's horrendous.
When he said Nathaniel, I was like, oh yeah, they called him Nathaniel because of Natasha. Yeah. And then I remembered that he wasn't even born, and I was just like, oh shit, I'm so old. This kid. But it shows how long we've stuck with Marvel and how long it's been running. And he hasn't even. That kid hasn't even jumped 5 years.
No.
That kid was supposed to. Yeah. So he's skipped 5 years and he's still old enough to go and start making phone calls. Yeah. That's how long we've been watching Marvel for. If he hadn't been snapped,
he'd probably be in high school.
He'd be in high school now.
That's not okay.
It's not good, is it?
No,
not good at all. I thought as well, Marvel being good at doing the mood. We went from that really heavy scene to Kate texted him because he couldn't hear her, saying it's a good job your name's Hawkeye and not Hawkeye.
And then he blocked it.
Deleted and blocked.
It is so funny. So but I loved her acting in that scene with the phone call.
Yeah, you could see
writing it down, and you
how
could
tough
see
it was for her.
That she found that difficult as well. And I think it brought back things with her dad and not having him around and all of that kind of stuff, and seeing a kid saying, "When are you coming home, Daddy?" kind of thing. Yeah. I think it was all that.
But no words.
No.
Just facial expressions.
Yeah.
It shows how good. We've not really talked about much in this episode because it was very heavily focused on Echo and Clint. Yeah. But she's doing such a good job of this, Haley Steinfeld, because you just felt for her just from the looks. Yeah. So yeah. Maybe what were you going to say? Sorry.
No. That was it. Her acting in this, she's still. I wouldn't say she's stealing the show, but she's still very much there, even when her part isn't that big.
Yeah.
And it just shows how a good actress can make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. She's loud without being loud.
Yeah.
Just her presence. You can just feel it when she's in any scene.
Yeah.
And sort of not in this episode, but I think there's a teaser or some shots have been released for next week's episode, and it's somebody in like a full balaclava with like night vision goggles on. You can't see the face.
Oh, yeah.
It's hit. Everyone's thinking it's Yelena.
Oh, okay.
And because we know we know she's in it, basically, don't we? But again, those two together.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see them. They're going to either bounce off each other or fucking hate each other. And I don't know which one I want more, but
I think it's going to be both. I think they're going to hate each other at first and then start to bounce off one another.
Yeah.
I think they'll gain a mutual respect for their skills and they'll bounce off each other.
They're probably going to end up like a proper little team, like
little duo,
Nat
like Clint and that. Yeah. Which would be quite nice, to be fair.
It's just like the next full on the next generation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. In the episode, then I think we've already touched on it. We got some more teasers of the Kingpin. That scene where we said that Kazzy and Echo were talking without actually doing any sign language. But again, it's teasing the fact that Kingpin is potentially coming.
Yeah.
At the end, then, so we got potentially a little bit more info. So they broke into Kate's house.
Yes.
It was Kate's house, wasn't it? And they got logged into Vera Farmiga's security system. And there were one big, very apparent thing that happened, and then another thing that was kind of mentioned in passing. So, for start, the big thing was the fact that Jack was there with the Ronin sword, and that's where the episode ended.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we'd get to that point with Jack this quick.
No.
Because it's kind of again making. I thought he was going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I still do to a degree. But I think if he was the big bad guy, we wouldn't be getting this interaction this early in the series.
No.
So he can't be. It's got me again thinking that he's more of a red herring.
Yeah.
If we're getting it that early. The other thing was when they logged in, they were looking for Kazzy on the system. And I think they said he's employed by Sloan Limited.
Yeah.
And I did a bit of research today. Doesn't happen very often, but it did. So I googled it for Marvel, and Sloan. They reckon that Sloan refers to a character in Marvel Comics called Walker Sloan,
right?
Who in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, is mentioned in that apparently.
Right.
Runs a company called Alchemax. He's the CEO, and Kingpin owns the company.
Right.
So again, that would completely make sense that if that's the way that we're going to go, that he's running it. And then that was the end of the episode. I really enjoyed the episode. I loved it a lot more the second time I watched it.
Yeah.
Though, and I don't know whether I just didn't have my head in the game in the first time I watched it, but I sat and watched it today about a couple of hours ago. And
I think sometimes for us it's about speed on watching it because we know we've got to get an episode out and things like that. Because I think I've done that a little bit and I've tried to watch it when I can.
Yeah.
And I don't think my focus has been 100% on it.
I know what you mean.
So I'll probably be going back and watching it again just so that I can...
Do you know what? If you can sit... I'd actually go as far... I don't know whether it was the best one.
Yeah.
I think this was one of the best episodes of any of the Marvel TV series that we've had so far. The fact that... Again, just the scenes, the car chase was one of the best action scenes we've had in any of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So well done. And then again, just the fact that we then jumped straight to that scene with his son.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Where I think we've already talked a little bit about where we think it's going.
Yeah.
Go on, give us a guess. Give us a theory as to where you think we're going with it.
A ridiculous theory.
Who are you thinking is the bad? Are we going with? Are we decide? Let's make a decision.
So my realistic one. So after we've sat and we've talked about it, I do think that Kate's mum is working with Kingpin.
Yeah.
Or is working under him, or is blackmailed by him, or there's something there that means that the way she was dismissing Kate over Jack being dodgy as hell.
Yeah.
Was massive red flags for me.
Yeah.
Like, she must be aware and there's a reason behind it.
I think Yeah.
But there's something there, and that for me would only mean that she's doing something for somebody else. And so that's where it makes me think, obviously, Kingpin with the dimensions that we're getting.
Yeah. So
that's my kind of realistic.
So when you say that, have you got a ridiculous theory?
I don't know if you.
I think I'm getting one in my head now. Literally, just as I'm thinking. I maybe hope. I think she's a bad guy. I kind of hope she is a bad guy. I don't want her to be the big bad guy in this.
No.
And I don't think I want it to be working with Kingpin either. I think it'd be interesting, let's say that, if it was all Kingpin and Kingpin was orchestrating this whole thing.
Yeah.
And at the very end, we find out that Vera Farmiga is a villain, but she's not really had anything to do with the whole Kingpin side of things. She's on her own story that's running, and maybe she's working alongside Madam Hydra or something like that, and she's, don't know, funding, putting the Thunderbolts together, or got something to do with
being the eyes.
Just something to do with that. Or maybe in the next episode when Yelena comes in, she's gonna know Vera Farmiga's character, or she's had interactions with her before. But my thing is,
what if she's had links to the Red Room?
Yeah, potentially. I don't know, security. Not calling any security guards like bad people or anything like that, but it's just in movies and films. It's tends
always
to be
the security firms that are dodgy as hell.
Is.
Yeah.
They are definitely. There's something dodgy going on. I just think that if we get, and I'm not saying we can't get Hare being a villain and Kingpin being a villain in the same show, but anything that we get Kingpin related, I think we'll be building towards something bigger. Whereas I just feel that if she's part of the main villain of this show, that will be the last we see of her. I don't know why. I just think that's the course that it had run. And I like her as a character already. And I think she's a great actress. So I think it'd be good to see more of her going forward. And I think if she's part of the running the bad guys in this, that we won't see that. So I'd like her just to be, it'd be teased that she's a villain, say.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Sound.
Do you want to know a little bit more of a ridiculous one?
Go on, yeah. Go on, full ridiculous.
What if...
Here we go. That's a show, you know.
I know, right? What if both of her parents died back in Avengers and her mum has been a Skrull this whole time?
Mind blown.
And could be the lead-in to the Secret Invasion because it's a security firm and they've got eyes and ears on everyone.
Chills.
I like that one.
I like that one.
It's good,
Where did you pull that one from?
Literally just out my ass in the last 30 seconds.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would explain the time that she was gone.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's probably going to be the fact that she was killing the dad. But
yeah,
I'd love that.
Be cool, wouldn't it?
Can you imagine if this was all leading to Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Oh, who else could be a Skrull?
Literally, this is what I love about it. It literally
Anybody?
could be anyone. The entire tracksuit gang could be them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it literally could be anyone.
I would love it if Marvel... We've gone proper off Hawkeye, but I'm all right with it. I would love it if when we get to Secret Invasion, we get some massive cameos in it. And we find that some massive Marvel characters that we've seen.
Like Keanu Reeves playing himself, but it's a Skrull.
Yeah. Yes. Keanu Reeves playing himself in the movie, but he's really a Skrull. Yeah, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. But no, just some like really big characters. And I think it's a way of bringing dead characters back.
Yeah.
Because the real character could have been locked
without them having
somewhere.
to come back.
Because they've never died. It was the Skrull that died.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you could have it that, well, you know, Tony could have been a Skrull.
Yeah.
The real Tony Stark could still be locked in a cave.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could be anything. I mean, that's probably a bit of a... I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back, and that probably would cheapen that. But there could be other characters. I can't think of anybody else who's died now. But do you know what I mean? I just love it if we found out that somebody big was a Skrull.
Yeah.
Not like Nick Fury, because we already know Nick Fury was, but just somebody big. Like Sam. Sam's a Skrull. Has been for the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Something along those lines, yeah. Because they are all linked. Should we see what the listeners thought of the episode? Let's do Pod Fans Assemble.
Pod Fans Assemble.
Okay, so we obviously said, same as usual, we want to know what you thought. So tell us in the poll. 79% loved it.
Amazing.
15% said it was okay.
I'm surprised, because I know the next one as well. I'm surprised that this one doesn't seem to be as universally loved as the first and second episodes, because I do, as I've already said, I think this one's the best.
Yeah.
I think it was
so we
better.
had 6% hated it.
We did have 6% hate it. However, I think that means 2 people hated it out of the people who voted.
Okay.
One of them was one of our listeners, Nathan, and he messaged me straight after and said, "Oops, I hit the wrong button." I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
so yeah, it was probably only 3% hated it.
Okay.
But still, I
love
don't get
that
it.
You got a message straight off.
I
Oops.
did. Oops.
I'm sorry for ruining your figures.
It's all right. It's all right. I like that Nathan and the rest of the listeners care that much.
I know, yeah. And me. Okay, so off the back of that, we had Jessica Barry say, "Lovely episode. The tracksuit mafia had me in hysterics again. I'm really enjoying seeing Hawkeye through Kate's eyes." Yeah, this is exactly it.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, the first episode was You Should Never Meet Your Heroes. Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's that idea that he doesn't see himself in that way, but you're still seeing him through the rose-coloured glasses of a kid, basically.
But I don't think they're rose. I mean, we didn't.
They're
really
not
touch on
rose-coloured. They're not by any means. But there is that he went dark and twisty in a section of it. And, and it.
He needs it. He needs it. And we didn't touch on it much on the episode when we went around through the episode because we always skip past it a little bit. But he hates himself to a degree.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, because of the Ronin thing.
Yeah.
He's
and
not
I think
a bad person.
He feels responsible for
all.
Natasha's death as well.
Yeah, I think he does. But I get that. I mean, he wasn't 100%.
No, he wasn't.
But I get why. I get you would. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would.
Oh God, yeah.
But
definitely.
But as much as I like Natasha, because I think she's a great character, and I wish she hadn't died, and I'm, as much as we didn't particularly like Black Widow movie, that wasn't anything because of the.
It wasn't
character
anything to do with her. No, not at all.
But if one of them had to die. Yeah, I'm not that I'd go and throw her off the cliff myself, but it had to be Natasha.
It made sense. He had a family to go back to. She didn't.
I know he'd done bad things, but she'd done bad things as well. Yeah. And that's it. He didn't. He had a family. He's got. Look at that kid who you could see was clearly getting upset just because his dad couldn't hear him on the phone.
Yeah.
And might not be home for Christmas. Imagine taking his dad away from that kid completely when he's only just come back.
Kid being understanding of it and saying it's okay if you can't come back. That was the bit that nearly destroyed me.
Yeah. He understood it.
Yeah. She then said, "He's always been one of my favourites, so getting to see him through the lens of someone who admires him as a hero is really refreshing."
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Wes said, "Maybe a bit short, but that was a wild ride and I loved it, especially the moments that actually slowed down and gave human moments with Kate and Clint. Lots of intrigue and mystery now with who's this and who's that."
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Really excited. Kenneth said, "I really liked episode 3 of Hawkeye. More and more, I'm really liking Jeremy Renner as Clint. I'm happy to do a mea culpa on this, like the nod to the big man that was that him."
Yes, had to be. Oh, but was it? Like we said, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't him at all.
Well, we did it with Trevor, so who knows?
Trevor, yeah.
Alan Hangover Like said, "Just caught up with it now. Thought it was a great episode. Loving the series so far." Geeky Nate said, "Oh my God, so good. The backstory threw me, so not what I expected. My only comment is that they should have done better framing shots with the sign language to show the full sign."
Yeah, completely agree.
DC Comics Collector said, "I think I like it. It has some great moments. As a father, the call between Clint and his son hit me in the feels."
Yeah.
Totally. Paul Sear said, "Enjoyed this week's episode. Had a good mixture of the tracksuit idiots and a really cool car chase with camera shots and the different arrows at their disposal. Also, the scenes with Kate and Clint and their growing friendship was touching, like the call with his son."
I love the fact he calls them the tracksuit idiots.
Yeah.
It is a better name.
It is brilliant, isn't it? Keeper of the Sacred Flame, best episode so far.
Yeah. Great.
You Insult Me. It was very touching with a great action scene. Yeah.
That's do you know what? Very, very, very brief but completely summed it up. Really touching episode with loads of action.
Yeah.
That's why I loved it.
Heart Attack. It was the best episode by far. Peacemaker just wrote Kingpin hand and left us a picture of Kingpin.
Yeah.
And then Sheldon Pink said, "I skipped watching last week, so we're settled in nicely to binge 3 episodes back to back. Watching 1 and 2 again was great, but being able to roll straight into episode 3 was awesome. The fact the episode kicked ass was a bonus. The giant arrow was a nice touch, topping off an amazing sequence." Totally agree.
So good. That giant arrow was brilliant. But again, we've now got that. I feel like that was the cliffhanger we got at the end of episode 1 would have killed me, which is why I'm glad we got episode 2 straight after. This one's killed me as well. Just Jack being there with Ronin's sword is just like, I need... when it happened, I was like, please don't finish it. And then it did, and I was just like, shit, we've got another week now to wait.
I knew it was going to happen. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah.
This is it. This is the end.
Also, that's gonna come out the day that we go to see Spider-Man as well.
No, it's not.
The Wednesday.
No, it's next. It's episode 5 is the week that we go and see Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we get it on the Wednesday.
I keep skipping next week, you know.
Why?
I don't know. I keep jumping to the following week, and
do you know what, a little bit of me does as well. I keep thinking
I've done it no less. That's the third time I've done it in the last 2 days.
Oh my god, we've got a week and a half till Spider-Man.
I know.
And Hawkeye, the same one. We'll have. We're going to do wrap up in a sec, but we will have 2 episodes that week. We're going to do the Hawkeye episode on the Thursday.
On the Friday.
No, we do the Hawkeye episode on the Thursday like we have been doing.
So we'll just record it and get it straight out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we edit this bit out, or should we let the listeners listen to us?
Make the decision. The podcast. It was just because I knew you've got Friday off as well, haven't you?
Oh yeah, so we could just do.
We've both got Friday off,
so we could just drop the 2 episodes on the Friday.
Yeah,
let's do that. 2 episodes on Friday the 17th.
There you
listeners.
go.
There you go. Not one big long episode. No,
2 episodes. 2 episodes.
One special Spider-Man one, so that you can still listen to the Hawkeye one straight away on the Friday
without getting any spoilers for Spider-Man.
Perfect. Yeah. What else could you want? Should we do the wrap up? Well, we'll talk about that again. Yeah. So thanks for checking out the show. Don't forget to come back next week for our review of Hawkeye episode 4. I got completely lost then. It is 4, isn't it?
Yeah, number 4.
It's because we did 2 in the first week. Make sure you subscribed on YouTube to see when the next live show is going to air, or on your favourite podcast platform, Spotify Wrapped. We've already talked about that. Thank you again for that. Or Apple Podcasts. You can find all our episodes at thatsuperherothing.com, along with links to all of our socials and the sign-up page for our newsletter as well. If you've enjoyed the show, please drop us a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, or leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It does really help out massively. Yeah. The more people who subscribe on Apple and leave us reviews, the higher it gets basically ranked in searches and stuff like that, which means more people will be able to listen to the show. Finally, patron shout-outs. Thanks to Geeky Nate, Kenneth, Keeper of the Sacred Flame, Stephanie, Richard and Jessica for supporting the show. Again, we couldn't do it without you guys helping us out. Means the world to us, but seriously.
Honestly.
If you want to support the show like those guys, you can head over to thatsuperherothing.com/Patreon or patreon.com/thatsuperherothing. You can check out all the bonus episodes. We just dropped one this week, which was a talk through our visit to Liverpool Comic Con. Just the story at the end is just worth it with Anthony in the lift. If you listen to it, you'll know what we're talking about.
I forgot about that again. Oh God.
You'll know what we're talking about. Seriously, it's worth it. It's brilliant. We'll have another live watch party coming this month, and we don't know what we're going to do yet for the Podverse episode this month. Do we? Have we decided on a Podverse episode?
No, we have. I don't think we have.
I'm thinking a bad movie review or a Christmassy one. It's got to be Christmas themed.
Yeah, but
watch this space. We'll figure.
Do you know what we could do?
Go on, what?
It's a classic.
Is it superhero related?
Yeah.
Go on.
Kind of.
Here we go. It's not at all.
Jingle All the Way?
Yes.
Because he does Turbo Man?
Yeah. I'm all right with that.
Should we do that?
If you're all right with that, listeners, yeah. or patrons particularly.
Yeah, if anybody wants
patrons,
to...
Let us know.
Let us know if you're happy with that.
Listen to us, do a review.
And listen to me do really bad Arnie impressions.
It's not even a bad movie review. It's amazing.
I know.
Who gives a shit if it's 17% on Rotten Tomatoes? They're wrong, as usual. Yeah, we're doing that. If you want to listen to it, go over to Patreon. We'll announce what days it's going to be up over the next week or so. But yeah, make sure you check that out. Other than that, though, I think that's us for this week. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week, guys.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.